Tonight on the Rychnovsky Recap, there's an Ohio field of Michigan Media Day as the Maize and Blue look south to turn it around. A former Buckeye carries the torch for his fallen coach. A local high school coach states his case in the battle for players in Sylvania. And saddle up because we're going for a barstool ride. Fasten your seatbelts. It's the recap, and it starts right now.
Wise, just like a 360-degree change wise, because I mean, you're dealing with in high school, you got 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and when you come in college, just like 24-year-olds, 23-year-olds, and you just gotta try to be mentally where they're at.
That's Fremont freshman Greg Brown. Brown and former St. John's lineman Jack Miller are proud members of the freshman class at the University of Michigan. Good evening, everyone. I am Joe Rychnovsky. Welcome to the show. There's a new sheriff in town in Ann Arbor, and as the Wolverines get set to embark on 2011 under Brady Hoke, one thing is for sure, there will be a lot of Northwest Ohio influence. Veteran players like Jordan Kovacs from Oregon Clay and Wasion's Elliott Mueller as well, with Whitmer's Kevin Koger, they expect to get plenty of playing time this year and will go a long ways in determining just how good this team will be. The change in coaching staff and philosophy is an adjustment so far the players are handling quite well.
It's been a lot of fun, you know, just adjusting to the new staff, and they've done a great job. Coach Hoke and his staff, and even the strength staff, they all made the adjustment really easy for us.
You know, Coach Hoke, how he likes to put it is, you know, you can't look too far ahead in camp, because if you do, it's just you're not gonna make it. So you know, our philosophy as a team is take it one day at a time and prepare, and just focus on having energy and trying to improve one day at a time.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Meanwhile, former Buckeye quarterback Terrell Pryor is still waiting word from the NFL on whether he'll be eligible for the NFL supplemental draft next week. Pryor hopes to meet with NFL officials this week about his draft eligibility. In order to be eligible for the NFL supplemental draft, you must be ineligible to play college football. The draft is scheduled for Wednesday.
Jim Tressel, I still firmly believe, is a good man. And he made a mistake, and I think for those people out there that want to chastise him for it and that want to continue to hold it against him, I think they need to, you know, personally, in my opinion, I think they need to let it go.
That's former Buckeye National Championship quarterback Craig Krenzel in Toledo yesterday, showing his support for Coach Tressel. And welcome back to the show. In less than 2 weeks, the 2011 version of hardcore football hit the airways on Friday nights. One of the top teams in the area, the Southview Cougars, ran the table last year in the regular season before stumbling in the first round of playoffs. That loss will serve as motivation. So will an off-the-field recruiting violation as Southview and Northview battle for kids in Sylvania. Southview head coach Jim Mazy's had a tremendous run, winning a state championship, and he's won numerous league titles as well. Tonight, the fiery coach is in the house as we go one-on-one. Jim, first of all, thanks for coming in, and I really appreciate it. I want to talk mostly on the field stuff, obviously, but let me give you a chance tonight to at least get the whole probation thing. Give you a chance to respond to that as we start the interview before we get into the on-the-field stuff, because I know you want to.
Well, with respect to everyone, I think there's a lot of competition, you know, Northview versus Southview, and I think with a new coaching staff, there's a lot of new enthusiasm, and I think we got accused of a few things, and quite a few things, and then when the school system did the investigation, they felt that there wasn't any violation because all I'd done is ask a, you know, Southview, or it wasn't a Southview, we didn't know which school they were from McCord. My daughter is a cheerleader, was in 8th grade last year, a cheerleader, and this was one of her classmates. They're standing around talking. I go to pick up my daughter, and I asked him, "Oh, you're a big kid. What school are you going to next year?" Said I could go to either one. Well, that ended up being I had made contact with someone, and it's pretty hard not to make contact with kids when you live in Sylvania, whether you're at the grocery store or wherever you're at, especially if your daughter goes to McCord. Part of the kids at McCord go to Northview, part of the kids go to Southview, and you really don't know until you ask them or it's printed somewhere, but that kind of happened, and I think the assistant coach at Northview was a little over enthusiastic possibly, but the state thought that was a violation, and I know the people in our school system understand you do ask people what school they're from So you know.
Let's talk about football on the field now. We're past all that stuff as we get ready for. You're in 2 days now, and it's been hot, although it's cooling off today and into the week. But talk about that. Are you glad to be back finally? You get on the field and see the kids again?
Well, you are excited, especially when the weather's nice and you have a good team, and it is exciting. It's a lot nicer when it's 70 degrees than when it's 90. Now,
talk about your team, because a new quarterback in Austin Valdez, a long family of Valdez boys that have played for you and have been very successful. You guys undefeated last year, and then you get to the first round of the playoffs and you lose to Twinsburg. That's still got to be in the back of your mind. How much does that just get you go, oh man, you're right there?
Well, you know, when you're in Division I, you know, you win a D2 state championship, and there's a few people out there that are going to say, well, it wasn't D1. Well, we weren't D1. Now we are D1. We are a tiny D1. Some D1 schools are twice our size. So definitely, is it going to be a lot tougher? Absolutely. Did we feel we could have certainly won the Twinsburg game? Absolutely. A couple of things didn't go our way. We could have got that done. It went to overtime. Hard-fought battle, you know, both teams. And we didn't get it done, and we were playing at home, and it stings and it motivates you. But we have 10 different players back on a defense this year because of injuries and switches. We have 10 guys back that were starters last year on a defense that won 10 games and only gave up 10 points a game. There was 101 points scored against us in the first 10 games. So we're pretty optimistic about how they can play. If they're playing with passion, they're going to play some good defense. The Alan Gant, he's, you know, the only 4-year starter I've ever had, and he's a fine leader. He's got a great attitude, in addition to being a wonderful athlete.
Let's talk about him, because he is a special athlete. I mean, he caught, I believe it was his freshman year, he catches the tip pass to the end zone, and he's, as you said, a 4-year starter, a Michigan commit. He's going to be playing for the Wolverines, the Big Ten next year. Is he the best player you've ever had? Wow. You've had some good ones.
You know, I don't know. He's certainly one of them. He's certainly one of them. He's a special guy because he's tough enough to block people. We'll line him up at tight end or slot, and he can block down, and he can kick out. He can run the ball. He can certainly catch the ball. He can throw the ball. He threw about a 50-yard touchdown pass and a reverse pass in the playoff game last year. So he can do all kinds of things. Everyone knows he can play basketball. He's been a starter on the basketball court for 4 years also this year, and he's pretty good shot put, discus. He's pretty fast on the track team too. He can do all kinds of things. But I would rather talk about Alan as a person. I mean, an athlete is one thing, but when you put together the character and the work ethic, the attitude that he has, it's just such a wonderful gift for a guy like me to have somebody like him on the team.
How rewarding is it for you to see your players go on, whether it go on to a Big Ten school or whether it be playing Division III somewhere, and then come back? Because I know you've had a lot, and I've done a lot of stories throughout the years of some of the families that have had boys that played for you that have come back and coached for you, or come back and said, Coach Mazies, you have made a difference in my life.
Well, you hear that sometimes, but we had a special moment yesterday. A kid, I'm sure you remember, Kelly Rowe. Kelly Rowe is 25 years old now and has himself a big business job out on the East Coast somewhere. But I had Kelly Rowe as a first grader. And yesterday he came to our locker room. He's in town for a couple of days. And, you know, his big brother Jeremy coached and was an all-league player and a 2-year captain. And Jeff Rowe, an all-state player. And then came Kelly. And I was really close to that family. One of my best friends was their father, who passed away in 2001. So family, I mean, you can go that deep with the Valdez, you know, and now the Pinckneys, the Bowers. When we sit in our locker room and we have the league champions around in the locker room, these boys looking, you know, they see their brothers. There's a freshman now that on the freshman team that I coached his dad. So, you know, I guess I'm really fortunate to have been able to be there as long as I've been there. And wow, you know, I didn't start in Sylvania till I was past 30 years old. So, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm just super fortunate to have all the years that I've had.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for coming in. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, absolutely. Great players.
He's a good guy and a phenomenal coach as well. We'll step aside when we return. Fasten your seatbelts. We're headed to the track, sort of. Stay with us. Welcome back. I've raced go-karts. I've taken a ride in Indy kart 220 miles per hour. Even did a story down in Athens one time on the soapbox derby cars. But bar stools? I'll have to admit, I never dreamed of such a thing until I headed to Perrysburg to take this week's Fox Challenge.
I like these things. They're the equivalent of the man cart. The man cart, the golf cart for the neighborhood.
They're affectionately known as the Sandalwood Sizzlers. A group of guys that live on Sandalwood Road in Perrysburg. Bob Kneisel is the crew chief.
They're called a bar stool racer. My daughters found one in an automotive magazine at a car show, and she asked me if I could build one, and I said, yes, I can build it.
And if you build it, they will come. Soon, the entire neighborhood turned green with envy. Literally. So, Bob, tell me, how much gas mileage do these things get?
About 100 miles a gallon.
Go green! Woo! Tell me, did you get jealous of Bob's bar stool?
First time we saw it, I had to have one.
And Scott Harlow?
Well, it was pretty much peer pressure. Everybody else in the neighborhood had one, and I was the last holdout, and mine's the newest.
Keith Duhame had his reservations as well, until one day...
Bob, who had started the whole thing, had been trying to get me to get one for a while, and I said I just wasn't sure if it was for me. And then one day he walked up to my driveway and set an engine down in my drive and said, here, you're getting started.
Each bar stool is specially designed. There's the Buckeye.
We're going to change the color of the motor there next year. The blue doesn't go too well with all the Ohio State themes.
The Wolverine.
Ordered the stool online, and then there was a guy that had fabricated his own little throttle and brake and steering wheel for it. And so we made that. We made our own tie rods and just bits and piece things together.
And
yep, just got this off the Lions website. Ordered this off the Lions website. The chair, the bar stool, and bottle opener, and some other little things for Lions.
So what do you say? It's time to go racing.
Get set, go!
The bar stools can reach speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. And the cost?
Over $1,000.
Over $1,000 bucks?
Yeah, with all the parts and the bar stool and the tires and everything, yeah.
But even so...
I love them. Boys need their toys, so why not? It's a lot of fun.
It certainly is. Woohoo indeed. Time to take a break. Don't stray far. It's back to the practice field next. Stay with me. Pops forgot my football for this segment.
Hey, it's not my fault. You're the anchor.
It's a great time of year, but very busy in the hardcore sports department as we get ready for hardcore football. Oh, yeah. In less than 2 weeks. The colleges and pros are prepping as well. We'll add a touch of baseball and even some basketball news as we rewind with Ralphie's, because upon further review... On Wednesday, college football, that's BGSU head coach Dave Clawson looking on as the Falcons held an open scrimmage. How about the play of redshirt freshman quarterback Trent Hurley? The fake handoff of quarterback keeper, that's a 22-yard touchdown run. Later, Hurley by ground and Hurley by air. A little screen pass to the senior Eugene Super Cooper, and Super Cooper will do the rest. He turns on the Jets. It's a 49-yard touchdown. Falcons open up the season at Idaho on Thursday night, September 1st. And on Thursday, Hens in Louisville tied at 5. Bottom the 11th, Argenis Diaz rips it past third. Ben Dez, come on down. Diaz had 4 hits. Hens finished 3-1 in the homestand, winning in walk-off fashion, 6-5. And on Friday, high school football scrimmages will start at Whitmer High School. Whitmer taking on Southview. Tyler Palka going long. It's almost intercepted, but Alonzo Lucas says, thank you very much. I'll take that. He cruises into the end zone. It's a 49-yard touchdown play. But here come the Cougars. The power eye right up the gut. Jared Haas finds the end zone. Southview opens with St. Francis on the 26th. Whitmer will take on Start. And over at Rogers, Rams quarterback DJ Tucker with a long pass down the sidelines. We call this the obstructive view. It's complete. That'll set up 1st and goal against Bowser. Tucker will do the honors. The quarterback keeper, and he's into the end zone. Scrimmage number 2, Bowser against St. Francis. And check out the moves by Alan Cook. A little shake and bake by the Cook. He breaks it down the sidelines. That's a nice play, and so is this. Knights looking good on offense. Mike Wagner finds a hole, and he's off to the races. Bye-bye. High school football returns for real in less than 2 weeks. And on Saturday, what a performance by Cole McCoy and the Browns, coming out smoking against Green Bay. McCoy to Josh Cribbs. Check out these numbers. 9 for 10, 135 yards and 1 TD. Browns beat the Packers 27-17. And that's on review. We're ready for our final break. When we come back, we'll introduce you to a Cougar with more than just football on his mind. We're back in a moment. Now that is one cool neighborhood. Thank you, folks. Finally tonight, each year, more than 15,000 children are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Casey Desmond is one of those, but the Southview sophomore is not letting the disease slow him down as we meet and greet a valuable member of the Cougars football team. There he is at practice checking his blood sugar. Casey works out with the team and is taking part in all two-a-day activities, but he must make sure his sugar does not get too low. There's a history of diabetes in his family, and although he's battled it since he's been 13, it does not interfere with his day-to-day goals and athletic aspirations. Give me an idea on how football has helped you.
It's really brought me to check my blood sugar more and be more careful about it, because I know if I'm not careful with it at football, I could really hurt myself.
When you say to me he's diabetic, that's not the first thing that comes to mind about the young man. He's very, very disciplined. He's extremely coachable. Just a pleasure to have around.
Yes, indeed. That is the recap. I'm Joe Rychnovsky. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. So long, my friends.